why cartoons don't sound like they used to. Lucky.
Over the last 2 decades, cartoons have continually prioritized visual upgrades while neglecting audio quality. But no one's calling it out because it's not so noticeable. At least, not intentionally. But subconsciously, sound matters just as much as visuals. Most of the time, it matters more.
I think there's a good reason for that, because they make it more like slop. They make slop content like SpongeBob, for example. Look at how bad it is now. They do like the worst faces they can. They try to make it funny. They make it for like 5-year-olds. They change it to more like Cocomelon kind of content than like actually entertaining. It's slow.
That's
Just
the
make it
reason you
worse.
can't stand watching a foreign movie on mute, even with the subtitles right there on the screen. But the moment the sound comes back, it suddenly becomes the best movie you've ever seen. That's how powerful audio is, and that's why I'm going to expose all the blind spots for this regression today. The most obvious problem for me is how voice actors sound bland now. There's no emotion whatsoever attached to their characters or whatever scene they're recording.
That's
But
true,
this
that's true.
criticism isn't a shot at voice actors themselves. I mean, I'm more concerned about the changes in the recording process. A lot of classic animation had voice actors recording together in the same room, reacting to each other in real time. A good example for this is when Michael Jackson guest starred on The Simpsons in the season 3 episode Stark Raving Dad, voicing a character called Leon Kompowski.
Who are you?
Hi, I'm Michael Jackson from the Jacksons.
I'm Homer Simpson from The Simpsons.
He didn't agree to record a single line until he heard the full cast do a live reading of the entire script together. He wanted to feel the synergy between them to know how he'd match their energy. And you can feel it, not just in that episode, but in every—
Yeah, like I like what I'm saying. It's more because they want to get more money from it. They don't want to put as much effort into it. They just want to pump it out, make it slop, just do as much as they can, get as much money. They don't actually put any like backbone behind it. They don't put any kind of entertainment.
every other
Just make
episode of
money
The
from it.
Simpsons. The way the characters
There's no
interact
passion.
and throw the most unhinged jabs at each other so smoothly. That timing between them isn't something a director can create in an edit. The original Powerpuff Girls did the same thing. All 3 voice actors for the girls recorded together in the same booth. They goofed around and bonded off script, and that chemistry translated directly into the performances. You could hear it in every interaction between Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup. That back and forth energy between the characters,
watched
or the
that, so I
little
wouldn't know,
hesitation
but-
that allows a joke to land better, is incredibly hard to fake, and it'll always be superior to what we have nowadays.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, it's kind of an L take. I think Teen Titans Go is kind of good. I liked the normal Teen Titans a lot. I think it's still better, but Teen Titans Go was kind of entertaining when I was like a little kid. Wasn't like too much
With
slop.
modern
It still
voice
had like
acting,
some kind of
especially on bigger
entertainment.
productions with international teams, remote work is the order of the day. Voice actors record their lines separately from home, send them in, and never even have time to meet or get to know each other. The 2016 Powerpuff Girls reboot replaced 2 of the 3 original voice actresses, and this time they had to record their lines separately. Fans immediately noticed that the girls didn't have the same energy that they did in the original. One critic from the Occidental Weekly put it perfectly. The reboot lacked the impeccable comedic timing and wit of the original. The voice acting was mediocre at best. The voice actors who portrayed the 3 sisters lacked chemistry, as they had never been in the same room to build that dynamic together. And it's no surprise that the reboot landed a 3.6 out of 10 on IMDb. Cartoon Network eventually pulled it from reruns and replaced it with episodes from the original series. Recording lines separately often has directors piecing together what's supposed to sound like a spontaneous back and forth conversation between 2 characters who never actually heard each other's lines being delivered in real time. Even if both versions are technically saying the same words, the one that's recorded in real time has those tiny overlaps, natural pauses, and human instinct, because both actors are actually listening to each other in that instance. Now, this doesn't automatically translate into disaster though. Skilled directors and skilled actors can still make isolated recording work, and plenty of genuinely great performances are made this way every single year. Phineas and Ferb is a perfect example. Vincent Martella, who voiced Phineas, recorded in America, while Thomas Brody Sangster, who voiced Ferb, recorded his lines
Well, yeah, like they can still do it separately, but it's like they're just not effort put into it. And they just want to make it. They want to get free money out of it, then just leave it. That's how it always is.
in England.
SpongeBob still
They
is
were
being
on
directed.
2 different
Right,
continents
people.
and didn't meet in person for 2 years. Yet the chemistry came through and the show worked out. But I still believe that no matter how great a remote voice acting performance comes out, it's not its greatest, because a tiny bit of that natural human flow gets lost in the process. I've seen bloopers make it to the final cut in
And,
cartoons.
like I feel like they kind of work on that a little bit. Like if they had headphones on, they could hear what the other person's saying, and, like work on it, like back and forth. Or if they're just like both recording at the same time, have headphones on, hearing each other, that could work. Like, yeah, I get what he's saying. Like, they just don't put effort into it.
And even Hollywood movies because of how naturally they flow into the scene, thanks to the actors growing some form of emotional connection to the scene that they're recording. Those small accidental moments can never be replicated when every single actor is isolated in their own booth on their own schedule with no idea what energy the other actor is actually bringing to their side of the scene. And then there's the delivery style itself, which has
OG Ben 10, and that went hard. I remember watching that, I think on Cartoon Network or something. That was peak.
shifted a lot. Modern cartoon performances now lean into constant exaggeration to grab attention. They have to
SpongeBob.
make big reactions to small things. The actors often resort to shouting, even in moments where a quieter line could have had a more profound emotional impact. My best example for this is Raven going from being the calmest and most mysterious girl in Teen Titans
It is my great pleasure to present for the first time anywhere the thing you've all been waiting for, my coolest, hottest, baddest creation.
Just get on with it.
to having multiple loud and excited moments in Teen Titans Go.
Free! Free! I'm free!
Even though it's the same voice actress. These days,
I still think Teen Titans Go is kind of decent, but I was also just like nostalgia kind of thing because I watched it when I was younger. Something's alright though. I mean, all.
almost every character, regardless of their actual personality or the scene, gets dialed up to roughly the same constant intensity. And when every character is performing at the same level all the time, or even worse, when they don't know how the other actor they're supposed to be in a conversation with has delivered their line, they start clashing into each other emotionally. And this brings me to my next point, which is how loud cartoons have become just to grab attention and appeal to kids with increasingly shorter attention spans. The music, the sound effects, and the pacing, all of it hits you at
Cocomelon
once
Slaw.
and never really lets up.
No
It's
entertainment.
gotten so serious that parents now see it as a problem worth taking to child psychologists. Take Cocomelon, for example. Parents
Yep.
have been pulling their kids off this channel
Really
for
cool.
years because they think it's ruining their kids' ability to focus. And they're not even wrong for thinking so. Every video on the channel uses high-pitched and pitch-correct voices.
It's just constant dopamine. Wow, I said that wrong. Dopamine. Constant dopamine straight to the brain. They're not actually getting any kind of entertainment or any having to wait for it. Wait for a good plot twist, get anything. Just straight dopamine.
Constantly.
No
because
kind of story.
kids' brains are hardwired to snap to attention at high-pitched sounds, as they often mimic distress calls. So the moment Cocomelon starts playing, a toddler's brain is already on high alert before they even start the actual content. Every element of the audio layer is wired to keep kids stimulated. Where other kids' learning shows have a character speak, pause, and wait for the kids to take in whatever is being said, Cocomelon runs background music, singing
story.
voices, and sharp cartoon sound effects all the time, continuously. That constant wall of layered sound completely occupies a toddler's working memory. There's no room left for anything else. They can't even hear their parents calling their name from the next room. The kids are so hooked on this cycle of constant stimulation that when the TV gets switched off, the toddler goes from a constant high-tempo auditory assault to a quiet living room in 1 second. That's too much for a kid to process. And parents aren't even fighting it by demanding better shows anymore, because they're aware that a lot of these producers do this on purpose to keep the kids hooked, and without much benefit either. Because even with as much information as something like Cocomelon packs in, it's so fast-paced and wrapped in musical content that kids can't remember what they just watched the moment they finish watching it. All they can think about is when the next episode's happening. So parents have gone back in time to find better content for their kids, like Care Bears from the 80s and Barney and Friends from the 90s. I remember my homeroom
No, Barney was horrible. Remember seeing that when I was younger? No. That just scared me.
teacher
That
singing
is
I love
terrifying.
you, you love me, and the whole class just sang along because of how easy and calm it
hated
is to
that.
understand. The slower and less aggressive
Mickey
shows
Mouse
make
Star.
kids calm down
Isn't
and
too
learn
bad.
without even realizing it. Doctors even gave it a name, the slow TV movement. Parents actively chose low stimulation content because the alternative, with toned up music and a combination of loud sounds layered on top of each other, was doing visible damage. But instead of taking the hint, cartoons are
Hey, amazing. Keep pausing, but Amazing World of Gumball, that was peak.
doubling
That was
down
amazing.
on being
That was a
loud.
good show.
They've taken the fear of losing attention to the next level. So even sound effects have shifted from being emotional cues to just taking up space in the noise. Old cartoons had personality baked into their sound design. Every sound helped the emotion of the scene land better. The sound effects would normally exaggerate a feeling so that even the slowest kid on the block would get it without needing extra scenes to explain. And the consistency across many shows was very effective. Most cartoons use the same sounds for specific similar movements, so when you heard a specific sound effect on
Also,
one
like Bugs
show,
Bunny and
it
all
meant
that.
the exact same thing on a completely
That was a pretty
different
good show.
We all learned what those
What was
sound
called, but
effects
those were
meant
pretty
without
good
any of us
episodes,
sitting
stuff like
down
that.
to explain it. Even up till now,
Like Porky Pig, Bugs Bunny. There was that one like the little monster dude. Yeah, that was a pretty good show.
when you hear this,
Bunch of
you
shows.
know it involves money. We've seen it
Looney
used on
Tunes.
Mr. Krabs, on Scrooge McDuck, and on Johnny Bravo trying to impress someone with his wallet. These are all different characters on different shows, but the sound effect has the
Looney
same
Tunes.
meaning every single time. Sounds are underrated languages, especially for kids. But modern sound effects don't work like that anymore. They're used without any emotional intention. Most times, they're just there to fill the moments of silence in spaces that the music can't cover. That's why you rarely have moments of peace in cartoons. There's always a sound effect
We'll also have this take. I didn't really like Loud House all that much. I think
that's
it's kind of
close
mid.
enough to the scene that they
That's not even
slam
like
in
it. I
there
think it's
because
kinda
they
mid.
actually believe that 1 second of silence could lose the kids. Apart from that, some of these studios are cranking out way more episodes per year on a tighter timeline and a tighter budget, so sound design becomes one of the very first places where producers have to cut corners. Instead of carefully choosing or even creating a sound that fits one specific moment, a lot of modern shows just pull whatever's closest from a massive generic sound library and move on to the next scene. It's faster, cheaper, and gets the episode finished and out the door on schedule. But it completely underutilizes the impact of sound on visuals. These two are supposed to work like Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. If both are not done to the max, the whole thing turns out average. But even after stripping every part of cartoon audio down, producers felt they hadn't optimized the content enough for attention retention, so they went for the theme songs. Old cartoon
Wait,
intros
no,
used to
I
be
don't like
full
Who's Gonna
songs,
Miss.
real lyrics, and actual memorable melody. Sometimes the entire show's theme story packed into 30 seconds flat. Take SpongeBob for example. The very first line, "Who lives in a pineapple under the sea," is honestly the only reason some people even know Bikini Bottom is underwater. Some cartoons weren't even this direct. A theme song could be goofy and immediately tell you the whole show was going to be lighthearted and silly. It could be dramatic and immediately tell you to expect real stakes and real danger. The song itself was doing genuine narrative and emotional work before the episode even technically started. There was also a kind of pride when someone got to sing those old
Phineas and Ferb
songs
is pretty
that
good
isn't
though.
there
I love
now.
that shit.
Composers and lyricists treated the intro
Ooh,
almost like
and
its own
Adventure
major
Time.
single,
Yeah, that was good
something
too.
that had to work as a standalone piece of music, catchy enough that kids would hum it on a playground completely out of context. That's an incredibly high bar for 30 seconds of music, and a lot of these old shows hit that bar consistently season after season. It's no accident that you can still sing entire cartoon theme songs from shows you haven't actually watched in over a decade. Those songs were specifically written to be memorized.
Yeah, Teen Titans have a really good intro. What else? There's a lot of shows with good intros. I think Adventure Time had a really good intro. Teen Titans had a really good intro. Scooby-Doo had a pretty good intro. Like, there's a bunch of shows. They all kind of suck now.
Completely on their own, separate from whether you even remembered a single plot itself. And don't forget bragging rights from back then. Some theme songs were just compulsory knowledge if you didn't want to look completely lost with your friends at school. Meanwhile, modern cartoon
Everything,
intros,
okay.
a lot of them anyway, have shrunk down dramatically to 10 or 15-second stingers. Sometimes barely any melody at all. Just
Yo, that show sucked right there. Apple and Onion or whatever. I remember that kept coming on Cartoon Network. That show sucked. I was on all the time. It's just so boring. Nothing happens. It's just like, I hated it. I saw some TikTok clips of it that were kind of funny, but I never liked it.
Right
I
then
think it's
into the
kinda boring.
episode. There's no real personality left in most of them. I've genuinely not memorized any cartoon theme song in this decade. I mean, maybe I could hum them, but it's quite a huge fall off that I don't know the lyrics. Part of this is genuinely just down to the way most of us left cable to use streaming. The skip intro button pops up in the bottom right corner and you don't think twice before hitting it to get straight into the action. I was rewatching Avatar: The Last Airbender on Netflix recently and I skipped the theme song on almost every single episode, because I've heard it 1,000 times before and I just wanted to save my time. We didn't have that luxury on cable. During SpongeBob weekends on Nickelodeon, you had to sit through that same theme song back to back for 30 plus episodes straight. We don't listen anymore. So why would a studio invest serious money into a music budget and serious writing time into something that people are statistically going to click past anyways?
That show was okay. I literally forgot what it was called. That was alright. They had like a movie that was kind of cool. I remember seeing it when I was younger. It was an alright show. It had a cool little like concept. I thought it was like so cool.
From a pure
Never
cost
watched
and
it.
time perspective, it's a completely logical decision. You can't call it laziness. They're being efficient with limited resources. But it's still hard to watch how great cartoon theme songs are basically getting phased out of mainstream production. That's one more core audio element and a big piece of what made these shows feel alive just disappearing. As unnoticeable as audio changes are, over the years, the cartoon audio decline has become more and more noticeable to people because of how drastically different it is now. Is it time for someone to step up with a solution for a change before it's too late? If it were this simple, someone would have done it long before it got to this stage.
Yeah, Steven Universe. And that show had like some decent kind of things in it, but it was so corny. I could never watch, never get into it. The movie I think was pretty good. I started watching that like the reboot River that came out. It was okay. Like, it seems like Steven Future or something. It was never my kind of show. It was always just too corny for me.
But it goes
He's
beyond
alright, though.
studios just trying to save money and time. Even if they got the voice actors to record together in real time again, which would be totally schedule destroying, insanely expensive, and
Was-
logistically impossible for productions to spread across.
I don't know if it was a horrible show, but I think it was just too corny. I think it had decent plot, decent like it had some decent parts of it, but it was just too corny for me.
Different countries and
The
time
look and everything
zones,
of it was kinda
you'd
cool.
Still have production delays
But it
that
was
the
just-
industry simply can't afford
That was the problem.
anymore. And even if they slowed down the sound design and went back to choosing specific intentional sounds for specific moments, they'd be making content for a generation of kids whose attention has already been conditioned by years of relentless stimulation. A thoughtful sound effect landing quietly in a slow scene might not even register anymore. And full theme songs would be skipped no matter how great they are. Because we're forgetting the most important variable in all of this: the actual kids themselves. These kids didn't choose this, but they've definitely been shaped by it in ways that make going back almost impossible, even if the studios wanted to. Think about what a modern kid's average day actually looks like. They wake up and the phone is already there. They scroll through endless Instagram reels, TikTok, and YouTube shorts all before breakfast. Content specifically engineered by rooms full of psychologists to be as addictive as humanly possible.
I have a kid, they ain't getting no kind of like electronics or nothing until they're probably like 10, 11. Like until they start actually like needing it to like social wise, they ain't getting no kind of electronics. They should be going outside, going on like swing, going to the park, that kind of thing. They would not be getting electronics back at like when they're 5. Maybe like a little tablet, like one of those tablets with games on it. That would be every once in a while. Maybe like shows when they're watching with me or something for like dinner, something. Not, how is that out? What about that out? Yo, they would be so brainwashed. They would be so brainwashed. That would not happen. I would never let that happen. Once they get old enough, they can have electronics and all that, but it would be like a slow build. They wouldn't get no kind of like PS5, PC, like phone, nothing like that. Once they're probably like 11, something like that, they probably get maybe a phone. They're not gonna, I don't know about phone, maybe like video games or something. But that would be a slow, yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, it would be like a slow phase into it.
There's no story or
Definitely not
gradual
5 years old
either.
with a
Just
phone
hit
and
after
PS4.
hit after hit in 3-second intervals, and then a cartoon starts playing. A University of Virginia study had kids watch just 9 minutes of a fast-paced cartoon. Immediately after, those kids performed significantly worse on focus and self-control tasks than kids who had watched an educational show. 9 minutes. 9 minutes is all it took for the pacing to temporarily rewire how their brains processed everything after it. And that was before TikTok even existed. Now imagine a kid who has already spent hours on Reels before watching a cartoon. A quiet moment that's supposed to build tension feels like punishment. Their brain is already expecting the next action before the current one is done. And since they're most likely watching on tablets or their phones instead of televisions like we used to, they can easily switch to their favorite apps on any pause that makes them feel less stimulated. Every single variable is against using soft and slow-paced sounds in cartoons. The way I see it, cartoon sounds had to either evolve or be left behind. Now, whether it's a decline or not is relative, because to me, hearing
It's a
loud
decline.
sounds over dialogues that aren't even audible in the
Then
first
where's
place
SpongeBob?
just
It's
due
horrible.
to how fast-paced everything is an absolute turnoff for me, but 8-year-olds can't seem to have enough of it. Apart from the producers trying to keep cartoons relevant, the loud and fast-paced beats were a necessary evil for the sake of the kids, because now they may get addicted to cartoons, but at least they're built for their age group, and they can still learn a thing or two from them. It's far better than doom scrolling where there's no age limit and no one looking out for them. So I mean, I guess you win some, you lose some, but it turns out that the evolution to cartoon sounds actually did serve a purpose in the grand scheme of things. Now, sound isn't the only thing that's changed in cartoons from a few decades ago. Combined with the other factors, the changes in overall quality and identity have caused a serious decline in modern-day cartoons. And I analyzed everything in this video on your screen, why modern cartoons don't.
Well, yeah, it's not just audio though. You know, it's audio being worse. It's animation being worse. They always try to do like funny faces, like crazy things, or make little kids laugh, or just be stimulated. It's horrible. All right, on the next video.